What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering. I know it's been a few days since I covered Captain Marvel, and I was really waiting for another important thing, a newsworthy thing to cover, and when this came across my desk, it was just too good to pass up. That's right, China thinks Captain Marvel too ugly. This is great. This is great. We're going to read through this. I've got 3 videos today. One about a disgusting harassment campaign that is being led apparently by Daily Dot against PewDiePie. We've got this, and I've got other gaming news. So make sure you've got your notifications turned on, and if you clicked the like button on this video to help spread the word. So, Captain Marvel reacts. China reacts to Captain Marvel. China thinks Captain Marvel isn't attractive enough. Online comments for Marvel's first film focus on a female superhero revolve around star Brie Larson's looks. At first, the film, as the first film in the MCU to focus on a female superhero, Captain Marvel is meant to be a celebration of the female empowerment. Is it? I thought it was supposed to be a superhero movie, but I guess, I don't know. I didn't pay to see it, so that's a thing. China has plenty of discussion online, isn't focusing on characters' actions or the film's plot. Oh no! Oh no! It's focused on the looks of Brie Larson. Quote, "I'm not judging a person by their looks," writes a commentator that is about to judge a person on their looks, but the main character in a superhero movie shouldn't be a dama, a derogatory term for a middle-aged housewife. Okay, another person reposted the photoshopped meme comparing the butts of Captain Marvel and Spider-Man, using the edited picture to suggest that Larson's hips aren't round enough. Well, I mean, if you had to pick a butt, just saying. Well, Captain Marvel is far from being the most successful Marvel film in the Chinese box office history. It's hardly a flop either. It's grossed $127 million, and by the way, this film is on its way to making nearly $1 billion, which is hilarious. It's grossed over $127 million. According to the Chinese ticketing giant Maoyan, it also boasted a 7-star rating on Douban, China's equivalent to Rotten Tomatoes, and it's comparable with the Avengers, Age of Ultron, and Venom. That's not good. Now, those movies, at least Venom was generally liked by fans, but universally panned here. There are plenty of people defending the film's choice of Brie Larson. Quote, "Why must superheroes look sublimely beautiful? The face looks tough. It's exactly what Captain Marvel calls for." Another said, "I wish we could avoid the double standards. Is Tony Stark young? Is he well built? Do you like him because of all his muscles?" Well, I'd say that Robert Downey Jr. is an attractive man, but I guess that's fair. He is older. Still, it seems like Captain Marvel's momentum isn't as strong in China as it is in the U.S. While the blockbuster dominated the American box office, by the way, it ran up against nobody. There was hardly anything worth seeing in the theaters in the last 2 weeks. That's by design. People don't want to run up against Marvel films. They clear the way, which is why almost nothing of note came out. Still, Captain Marvel momentum isn't strong. Some say it's because Captain Marvel feels less like a standalone film and more like a palate cleanser for Avengers Endgame. Captain Marvel was okay. Not saying it was bad, but don't expect any surprises, said one of the top comments on Douban. Probably saying that wrong. "Watch it for the hype. It's just a lead up to the final episode anyway." Others say Larson's character feels one-dimensional. Imagine that. She's such an important character, but her personality doesn't shine through. There's one thing almost everyone agreed on. The cat stole the show. Yes, this is the most liked comment. You know that feeling when you left a theater at 2:30 a.m. after watching Captain Marvel and you bumped into an orange cat in the corridor. Well, I don't know if this really is representative of the entire Chinese market, as they've clearly cherry-picked a few articles, but I think it's pretty hilarious nonetheless. But, you know, we've seen now the paid troll, Scott Mendelson, talking about why the success of Captain Marvel is terrific news for Star Wars Episode 9. Well, I wonder why it is. Captain Marvel earned over $270 million domestic in 10 days of release. This despite a deluge of folks who attempted to turn Cheese Larson's comments into wanting to see more diverse group of movie journalists covering the movie into accusations that the movie was not for white men. Well, it wasn't. She said it wasn't, right? Covering the movie, the 150 million budgeted flick has earned over 500 million overseas. Now remember that they probably spent close to 200 million marketing. Everyone always forgets this, or well, purposely omits it. This despite fabricated rumor mongering concerning fabricated rumor mongering concerning Disney and Marvel's misgivings with the movie and with Brie Larson's performance. The Anna Boden, Ryan Fleek directed sci-fi actioner may top 800 million worldwide as early as today. This despite coordinated attempts to review Brigade the film in various opt-in user polls. Ooh, it's almost like Rotten Tomatoes has no influence whatsoever. It's almost like that. Imagine that. It's almost as if general moviegoers here and abroad merely saw Captain Marvel as another relatively well-reviewed MCU action film. I don't think it was relatively well-reviewed. It was very average. But the blowout success of Brie Larson, Samuel Jackson, and Reggie the Cat movie means yet again that the trolls had no effect on the film's public reception. But here you are writing an article about it, Scott. So clearly there's an effect, right? That means they won't stop shouting. We don't necessarily have to give them the bullhorn or include them in the serious elements of the critical narrative. Well, yeah, because what's going to happen over the next couple months is you'll continue to destroy your credibility and businesses like Rotten Tomatoes, and new ones will spring up. Maybe exclusivelymovies.com or exclusivelygames.com will bring on movies. I mean, there are other options. As you remove the user's voice, people will stop going to your website. I mean, Rotten Tomatoes is already a meme. Basically, if you see a high critic score, the movie's probably crap. Maybe in the case of like Apollo 11, there's been a few cases where critics and the fans agree, but more often than not, I only care about user reviews. And so now that Rotten Tomatoes has said we don't want user reviews, there'll be a new place to get them. What the internet thinks about something, especially when it's merely a handful of tweets or Facebook posts, isn't indicative of the general movie-going populace. If it were, Mad Max Fury Road would have cleared 400 million global, and Bohemian Rhapsody wouldn't have been an Oscar-winning 878 million grossing smash. That also means that the folks over at Lucasfilm, especially Kathleen Kennedy and J.J. Abrams, can breathe a sigh of relief. Oh, thank God, because Solo was such a huge success. Today is March 19th, meaning we're exactly 9 months from domestic theatrical release of still untitled Star Wars Episode 9. The J.J. Abrams directed sequel has been a subject of much speculation, as is the case with every Star Wars movie since The Empire Strikes Back. Yes, the alleged final movie of Skywalker Solo Saga, with Harrison Ford's Han Solo and Mark Hamill's Luke Skywalker killed off, and Carrie Fisher, General Leia, set to be written out one way or another due to the actress passing 2.25 years ago. That's a weird way to write that. In the 9th episode, the franchise is also seen. There are plenty of critics, pundits, and consumers who didn't like The Last Jedi for subjectively valid reasons, just as I didn't care for The Force Awakens. But the sheer outpouring of online troll-driven criticism, much of it clouded in, of course, sexism and racism. Citation not required, obviously. If Scott Mendelson says it, it happens. And you have, it's almost like Forbes. Look at Mendelson. Every day he's just gobbling the knob. The guy is just a grade A cone gobbler. All he does is shill for the movie industry. It's almost like his opinion is bought and paid for. Now he writes, yup, Captain Marvel is definitely going to top $1 billion worldwide. Now, look, you can't argue with that. I think it will. I looked at the numbers earlier. It was, it will be a slow crawl to a billion, but it probably will get close. Captain Marvel is buoyed by a couple of things. One, the last second inclusion in Avengers Endgame. It is the benefactor of years of groundswell support for Marvel movies. It will be interesting to see how Captain Marvel does in the cinema after Endgame. Obviously, with $1 billion basically in the books, we're going to get a sequel. She's going to have another standalone movie. That will be the interesting one to see, because they probably sold $100 million in tickets of just people who are bored waiting for Avengers Endgame, another $100 million in tickets for people who realize that, well, maybe I need to understand what she's about, since apparently she's the most powerful superhero in history because she has a vagina. And, you know, and then another, you know, 500 million in normie money. So we're talking about monopoly money here, obviously. But it's interesting to see that it'll reach $1 billion when clearly so many people didn't like it. Clearly so many people don't like Brie Larson, but they're still paying money to see it. It's almost like they're addicted to Marvel. And they can just put out whatever crap they want, and people will continue to pay money to see it, because it takes no creativity. It takes no thought process. What am I going to do this weekend? The new Marvel movie's out. I guess I'll go see it. I mean, that's how a lot of people go to these movies. And you'll see there's absolutely been a drop-off in the films, in my opinion. And we're going to see that continue. And it'll be interesting to watch the Captain Marvel sequel, see how it does, see if it does $1 billion in the cinema when it's not a linchpin in the Avengers Endgame. We'll have to see. Hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.